been around for what, 86 years? Over 80 years? 85
19.
years?
And if he wants to say anything to the camera.
So later on, after I speak and give a bit, I'll get you to say, how great it is. We're working, kind of work with families, all of that kind of stuff.
And then Amol said he was happy to answer a question as well. That's Adve's dad.
What's his name?
It's Adve's dad, who Adve's coming here next
Adve.
year. That's written in your thing.
Where? Adve. Mark shoulder. Okay. Okay, good morning everyone, and it's great to be here at Lady Gowrie in Love Street in Spring Hill. That's been in this position for over 85 years, and I remember growing up in Spring Hill and always walking past and admiring the great work that they've done for many, many years. And can I also introduce Fleur Cozzi, who is the General Manager with Lady Gowrie as well, and family Anul, and it's great to have them here with Adve as well, and I think he's playing with a dinosaur at the moment, so he's enjoying himself at Lady Gowrie, which a lot of children do. Look, today it's a real pleasure to announce our Kindy for All program. There's no two ways about it that education and an early start is great for young children, and we don't want costs to stand in the way of families getting their children to kindy, whether it's sessional kindy or whether it's kindy through long day care. The Palaszczuk government knows how important it is for Queenslanders to have access to affordable kindergarten, as early childhood education sets children up for a lifetime of learning. I want Queensland kindy services to be both exceptional and accessible. I don't want a single family to not be able to go to kindy because they're struggling with costs. That's why early this year I announced our $1 billion Kindy for All program over the forward estimates, and it will mean around 14,000 families and will get free kindy, and around the remaining will be getting cheaper kindy for many families as well. That's about 40,000 families that will have either free or cheaper kindy, and it's our way of helping families with cost of living struggles. There's about 58,000 families, so 70% of them will benefit from this program, and after extensive consultation, and thank you to Lady Gowrie and all the providers, you can now jump online, have a look at the website called Kindy Savings, Queensland Government Kindy Savings, and there's a calculator there based on your special circumstances that will let you know exactly how much you're going to save. So can I encourage everyone to get on that, work with your provider such as Lady Gowrie, and they will pass those savings on to the family. So what you'll find online, for example, is if you qualify for Kindy Plus, an example is a family that earns around $60,000 and holds an Australian government healthcare card will get sessional kindy free. That's a saving of about $4,500 a year. If your child attends kindy in a long day care centre, it will be significantly cheaper as well. With a family with an income of about $130,000, they will receive family tax benefits, and they can save up to around $500 a year. And yes, dinosaurs roar, and it's great to see RJ having a great time. This is a significant targeted financial support for those families who need the support and those most in need, and we want to make sure that cost, as I said, isn't a barrier to families attending kindy. We're also investing almost $40 million to help remote and regional services attract and retain early childhood staff and teachers. Around 300 eligible remote and regional community kindergartens and long day care centres that offer kindy will receive a funding boost for things like accommodation assistance, relocation costs for early childhood teachers. So a great program there targeted at the staff, and we are more than doubling the number of kindies who will be eligible for kindy uplift to 900. That's an additional 500 centres from the current 400 who will receive additional funds for targeted assistance when they've identified a need in that child. So for example, a speech therapist, an occupational therapist will be able to come in and assist that centre so that every child gets a great start. We're also investing $19 million a year to enhance support for families with children with a disability who are developing vulnerability, and that's also a great targeted assistance that centres will be able to bring in. I know that a lot of the providers are so excited about this. It all starts in 2023. Now is the time to enrol your child. Now is the time to get on the website, have a look at kindy savings, see how much you'll be saving, and now is the time to talk to your kindy provider so that they can calculate with you what your savings will be, and they'll be able to pass that on to the families most in need. Can I say this is very welcome? It goes hand in hand with the $4.5 billion childcare subsidy scheme that the federal government has just announced. The Palaszczuk government wants to ensure all kids get a great start. Teachers tell us they can really tell the difference between a child who attended kindy and one that didn't. And we don't want cost to be a barrier to any child going to kindy. I know there are families here today who know the benefits. My child actually came here to Lady Gowrie, and it's still fantastic after 85 years. They flourished when they were here, and we want all children to flourish. As Education Minister, I want to make sure that we give every child a great start. If they need assistance, we can identify it and provide the assistance that they need. And really, I encourage everyone, enrol your child. We want to get from over 95% participation in kindy in Queensland, which has gone from 28% over a decade ago to around 95% now. We want to target that additional 5%. We want 100% of kids to go to kindy, get the great starts in centres like this right around Queensland. And this package, $1 billion over 4 to 5 years, will ensure that costs will no longer be a barrier. But I'm sure Fleur would love to say a few words, and I give you to Fleur Cozzi.
Thank you, Minister. Lady Gowrie Queensland certainly welcomes this initiative and looks forward to how it's going to provide access for children to kindergarten throughout Queensland and be responsive to the individual needs for families and communities. And as the Minister said, certainly come on in and enrol for kindy for 2023. Oh, sorry.
Back in the frame.
Sorry. The AEDC data will show that children in early childhood are needing support in Queensland. So, and that's where Kindy Uplift is significantly supporting a number of communities. And yeah, early childhood is a fantastic place to support general development and support families in their engagement. It makes an outstanding difference for children in their social emotional skills and their ability to express their ideas and learn life skills that will help them for their education for many years. Yep. So it supports them to be familiar with learning in a group environment and to express their ideas and interests and explore through play. And we know that ECA have currently got their statement on play available that we'll be contributing to as well. Yes, there is a staffing shortage across the sector, and we're working hard on providing incentives and opportunities for staff to come to our sector and also retain the qualified staff that we have. Okay. That's different for every service because they've got, I couldn't give you an average figure, sorry. So, Brooke would be able to help me out with...
We can get that to you.
Yeah, we can, yeah. So.
Any other questions for Claire?
C-O-S-S-E-Y. E-Y. General Manager of Children's Programs for Lady Gary, Queensland.
What's the difference between a child when they first start and then by the time they graduate?
Okay. So children can be quite reserved when they first enter in that late January, early February, depending on what their previous experience has been. Come November, they are leading the program and will confidently tell any visitor what's happening and what's going to happen next in the program and what they'd like to do, including the possibility of something that they possibly wouldn't be normally doing, but there's a visitor there, so let's give it a try.
Can you tell us about your waiting list for Lady Gary?
It's different for every service depending on availability in that community. Yes. Yeah.
So what would something like this initiative provide families that attend Lady Gary?
It will make it accessible for all families. So all families will have an option and a choice in terms of if they attend sessional kindy or long day care kindy. And yes, it will just reduce costs for every family. So. We have been strong advocates for education and care, and 3-year-olds is included in that. But we would welcome, supporting the year prior to school certainly, and then looking beyond that when possible.
And then Amal, did you want to just say a couple of very He doesn't know worries, no worries at all. All right, are there any other questions on kindy for Minister
I'm happy
Grace?
to answer any other questions, yeah. The announcement today is that you go on Kindy Savings and you'll be able to calculate exactly what your savings will be. We've been working now with over 2,000 providers. We've had extensive consultation. We want to make sure that this program, these $1 billion over the 4-5 years, is targeted at those families in need. And these centres know what the barriers are, and we've worked with them to ensure that the package and the funding is targeted to ensure that where costs were a barrier for families, we can remove that as best we can and provide the targeted savings that will make those kindy accessible for those families. Can I thank the providers, all of them? They've been excellent, and the department has worked tirelessly to come up with this website. So you can jump on, it's very easy to fill out. You just put in your details and it will tell you what your savings will be. Now, often that depends on what the fees are charged as well at the kindy. And so if you work with your provider, they will ensure that that then is flowed on to the family in reduced fees, or if you qualify for Kindy Plus, it's absolutely free. So where families may have been paying substantial amounts of money to go to kindy, it's going to be free for 14,000 families where it wasn't free before. So that's what's changed. It's all clear. Go on the website, see what you're entitled to. We can't wait to work with the providers to get that money, and so we can get additional children into kindy. Well, the $1 billion is over 4 or 5 years. So this is funded in the forward estimates to cover all the additional costs to government in providing free and greatly reduced fees. So it's locked in the budget, and so there's no money constraints from the Queensland government providing these funds to the centres to then pass them on to families. That's what that means. And what this means now is we really want to target kindy. It's a fantastic program. We want to make sure as many eligible family and children attend it, because teachers tell us the difference between a child that has gone to kindy and not gone to kindy when they start prep. There's a big difference, and we want to make sure we close that gap with targeted funding to those families in need so those children can attend kindy as well. It's a fantastic program. Now that we've locked it in with the federal government, we will have a look now at their childcare subsidies, particularly in long daycare, how that works. And this is a great cost of living saving to families. They can get into the workforce, they can have choice, they can decide what they want to do. And I'm so excited about this starting in 2023. So please, families, if you've got young children going to kindy, get on the website Kindy Savings and work out what you're going to save.
Is there any risk of the ongoing teacher shortage affecting the ability for this program to be rolled out to all those families that you just mentioned?
Yeah, look, I don't think it's going to be a threat to rolling it out to the families, but quite clearly there is concern about the number of teacher shortages, not only in early childhood education, but in schools as well. We've got a ministers' meeting happening in early December. We've got a workforce plan. They've just announced additional university places in the budget. There's about 1,500 additional places for early childhood teachers. It is an issue that's not only national, but worldwide, and we're doing all we can in this state to attract as many teachers as possible by employing the numbers and making sure that we have excellent quality teachers in Queensland schools and early education. But it is a concern, and we're addressing that, and I can't wait for the Ministers' Committee meeting in Perth in December to really work out the workforce plan and what we can do to ensure that we've got quality teachers, as we have Megan at the moment, with some young children, reading to them, playing with them, working with them. They are excellent quality teachers, and we want to see a lot more of those in our schools and in kindergartens as well.
I have a question about instruction.
That's all right.
Okay.
If you just want to come away.
Yeah,
That's all
I'm
right.
all, thank you so much.
We're just going to ask
We're just
some
going to do different questions now. Thank you.
Yeah, anything else non-kindy?
Yeah.
People only be allowed to build Queenslander-style homes.
Yeah, look, that's a really great question, and I think Jenny Hill's onto something here, but quite clearly local governments can make decisions about that. I think that if you are in a flood-prone area, you may want to build that's sympathetic to that possible environment, and I think councils can do that, and I'm sure that the Deputy Premier and Minister for Planning, Stephen Miles, would be more than happy to accommodate particular areas where we know that if you lift the house, as there's some assistance being given to families and houses in flood-prone areas around Brisbane, that if you lift them and build them a certain way, you can mitigate flooding, and I think it's a great idea. United flights, I came in this morning. No, I'm sorry, I'm not sure exactly, but we welcome international tourists back to Queensland, and we know they're coming in very good numbers, and the tourism sector is very happy with how they're operating now post-COVID, so it's great news.
All good. Thanks.
Other questions?
All good.
No, all good? Terrific. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming out. Yeah. Thank you.
Do you want to get some over?